Experts believe the maritime industry can become a veritable engine of growth, national economic development, and its transformation agenda. The Nigerian maritime sector can be a notable contributor to efforts at poverty reduction, wealth creation, promotion of skill acquisition, and encouragement of entrepreneurship. The sector, if properly harnessed and exploited, can contribute very significantly to the growth of the nation's unsustainable over-reliance on petroleum products. Welcome, many thanks for joining us on today's edition of Maritime Update, where we bring to you every week activities in the maritime sector. I am Norma Obiaswalo. However, despite these intimidating fact sheets, there is still a major disconnect. With its large population, market, and economy, Nigeria, since independence, has remained unchallenged as the biggest importer and exporter in the sub-region. Her cargo throughput, inclusive of oil and gas, far outstrips those of other seaports in the sub-region all put together. It is baffling that the ports in smaller neighboring countries pose such a serious threat to the emergence of Nigerian seaports as a leading port in the sub-region or a preferred choice of destination for cargoes bound for the sub-region. The question that comes to mind then is, how can the Nigerian maritime industry be made a stronger catalyst for the growth of the nation's economy? Some suggest that lack of planning, sector neglect, inconsistent economic policies have set the maritime sector back. Therefore, to realize a robust maritime industry that will compete with other maritime climes, building capacity, access to funding at one-digit interest rate, infrastructural development, ancillary services, and regulatory environment must be given a priority. In this episode, we will be focusing on NIMASA's achievements, maritime growth, safety and security on our waterways, and boosting indigenous shipping. First, let's look at the issues and developments that made news in the maritime industry. Stay with us. Federal government inspects 64 coaches in China for rail projects. Customs clarifies circular on controversial CG strike force. Shippers Council says to abolish container deposits at ports. Welcome to Maritime News, and now to the main stories. The federal government has inspected 64 coaches under construction in China for the various rail projects in Nigeria, with 10 coaches to be delivered in June for Abuja-Kaduna rail corridor. Mohammed Idris, Director Press of the Ministry of Transportation, in a statement in Abuja, disclosed that the Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, led a delegation to China to inspect the level of work at the Chinese Rail Rolling Stock Corporation, Tangshan Company Limited in China. Amechi said that Nigeria is expected to take delivery of the first batch of 10 coaches in June towards reducing the congestion at the Abuja-Kaduna rail line. He, however, noted that the pace of work was slow and urged the manufacturers to improve on it, adding that the Lagos-Ibadan will soon be ready. The Nigeria Customs Service has cleared the air on the recent circular which reportedly empowered the Controller General's Special Intervention Team, codenamed CG Strike Force, to intercept containers inside the seaports, saying that the team was directed to intercept only suspected cargoes and not all containers being cleared from the port. The National Public Relations Officer of Customs, Deputy Controller Joseph Atta, stated that there appears to be a deliberate misinterpretation of the recent circular from the Customs headquarters. He added that a circular that insists Strike Force team should be involved in the examination of suspected containers of those with Strike Force alert is now being given exaggerated meaning, stressing that the circular reaffirms the power of the team to intervene only suspected containers and the day-to-day running of any command which is prerogative to the customs area controllers. He assured that the coordinator of the strike force is aware of his limitation and will not go beyond his brief. The Nigerian Shippers Council says it will soon abolish the collection of container deposits by shipping companies in Nigeria, even as it is holding crucial meetings with Global Shippers Forum and the Union of American Shippers Council in Lagos to stop international carriers from slamming war risk surcharge on Nigerian-bound cargoes. The Executive Secretary and CEO of the Nigerian Shippers Council, Hassan Bello, however, said that for the council to abolish container deposits collection at the port, the freight forwarding sector needs to be well structured. The container deposits are illegal collection of shipping companies who never refund the money due to delays experienced by the trucks bearing empty containers in Apapa traffic. The NSC BAS noted that the surcharges are supposed to be temporary issues, but that whenever they are placed, it is not usually withdrawn. And that's Maritime News. Maritime updates continue shortly. Stay with us.
Welcome to Port Support Services, otherwise called the PSSP. This is an initiative of the Nigerian Shippers Council created to serve the public better. To help you navigate the portal, first log on to the website at www.pssp.ng for every information about the PSSP, which includes information on project standards, operating procedure of the partners of the PSSP, and frequently asked questions or contact information with the PSSP of Nigeria Shippers Council. Members of the public will be able to make complaints using the complaint form, track the status of their complaint, make inquiries, or give us a feedback using the contact form. The following are steps to submit a complaint. Open your web browser and type www.pssp.ng, which will take you to the home page. Click on the Make a Complaint. The login page takes you to the registration portal, which is mandatory for you to submit a complaint. If it's your first time of submitting a complaint, click on either the register or the button on the registration link. To register, you will need to supply your email address, display name, and password. After completing these fields, you should click on the register button. If you have previously created an account, simply log in by supplying your email address and password. After you have successfully logged in, you should see your complaint form. The system assumes you are the main complaint. The complaint form has 5 sections with the following details: service provider details, event or service description, other details, complaint description. In other and in addition, you will find a yes and no button, and this is how it works. Using the yes or no button, indicate if you're complaining on behalf of a company. If you're complaining on behalf of someone, you will have to give us other details by clicking on the Add Detail button. Then click the Next button. From the pop-up list, select the type of company your complaint is about from the agency list and select the company from the company list.
Welcome back. If you have just joined us, this is Maritime Update reaching you courtesy of the Nigerian Shippers Council. For details, please reach the Nigerian Shippers Council on our email, website, or better still, text the number showing on your screen. Now to the guest of the week. He is Dakuku Peterside, DG, Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency, NIMASA. Share on NIMASA's achievements, maritime growth, safety and security on our waterways, and boosting indigenous shipping. These and many more after this break. Stay with us. I must commend you for the achievements recorded so far. Can you take us through your achievements, the changes and reforms you've made upon resumption of office, and the challenges you've encountered?
Thank you very much. Sometimes we talk about our modest achievement with a sense of nostalgia. When we were appointed as a team to join the NIMASA team, the first challenge we had was the issue of reputation. NIMASA was known for the wrong reasons. We decided to address the issue of reputation. Apart from reputation, we decided to institute a new and pragmatic regulatory culture. We also addressed an area that's been long neglected, the promotional aspect of the work of the agency. one of the mandates of the agency is to promote shipping development amongst Nigerians, so get more Nigerians involved in shipping and the maritime industry. We also focus on building capacity for the industry, because without capacity, your people can't be involved in the industry. We tackled and we're still tackling the issue of maritime security. And those are the broad areas that we address. But we can go into specifics. In the area of regulatory regime, we've been able to change the way we conduct our survey, inspection, and certification regime. We instituted what is called the Survey, Certification, and Inspection Transformation Program. Today, we have surveyed more vessels than we did in the past. I can say with some degree of confidence that substandard vessels have no place in Nigeria. We could spot you using technology, and that we will bar you from coming to our territorial waters. We also focused a bit more on the environment. So aside from taking our flag state, coastal state, and port state control duties more seriously, we changed the way we ensure compliance with the vessels coming to our territorial waters, or vessels that operate within our territorial waters. Before now, the focus was on enforcement. But we changed our focus to engagement with the industry, get the industry to understand what is required of them and the negative implications of not complying with our flag and coastal or port state regime. So we have changed that. Right now we engage with the industry, work with them to ensure greater compliance. And I can tell you that our compliance level has increased tremendously. Only few substandard vessels can find their way, and if you find your way, you will definitely be intercepted. Now, in terms of cabotage, a lot has been achieved. We have more Nigerians today on board cabotage vessels. Before now, there were fewer Nigerians on board the vessels. We introduced what is called the new cabotage compliance strategy. With the new cabotage compliance strategy, we technically outlawed waiver. Waiver had been abused severally. With the new cabotage compliance strategy, we increased the number of Nigerians on board cabotage vessels by 35%. We have hit an all-time high. 70% Nigerians now are on board various cabotage vessels operating in our country. Now, mind you, we have also increased the number of Nigerian vessels working within our territorial waters, supporting the industry by the enforcement of the new cabotage compliance strategy. So there are more Nigerian vessels now engaged to work within the territorial waters of Nigeria. Now, in the area of marine environment, before now the focus has been on enforcement of certain aspects of MAPOL, Annex 1 particularly, and Annex 3 to an extent. Right now we're enforcing all the annexures of the MAPOL Convention, Annex 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have not started fully enforcing Annexure 6, but we're also doing very well in that area. Now, in terms of the vessel itself, we have tremendously improved vessel turnaround time by doing the following things. Now, one, as your vessel leaves Europe or wherever it's coming from, before they call at our ports in Nigeria, we literally will send you your 3% bill. We'll do all that we need to do. That before now used to take a lot of time. Now, as a vessel comes onto our shores and call out our ports, within 24 hours we're done with all the processes and issue a sailing clearance. That means you can leave our port within 24 hours. This is something that used to take weeks before. Under our regime, we have introduced a final billing system. We have introduced the advanced issue of manifest bill. We have introduced a number of initiatives that cut down the time you spend at our ports. And so now, as you call at our ports, within 24 hours, we can issue you your final bill, and you can sort out your bills and leave our ports within 24 hours. We have since keyed into the ease of doing business initiative of government. We realized over time that access to capital is a major challenge that is inhibiting our people from getting involved in shipping. We have opened a number of negotiations with the Central Bank of Nigeria. We have opened negotiations with the NNPC, trying to change the terms of trade with the NNPC. What the current terms of trade is free on board. We're trying to move it to cost insurance and freight, CIF, so that more Nigerians can lift cargo, more Nigerians will have access to cargo, more Nigerians can get involved in the industry. Now, we realize that in access to capital, the traditional banks don't understand that shipping has a long gestation period. It's capital intensive in nature. And we said, Central Bank, please, can we create a single digit facility for those who are involved in shipping so that they can acquire assets, so that they can, of course, get their ships back on course. And that is yielding a lot of results. We're engaging at the highest level, at the level of the presidency. Now, we're also engaging with the presidency, Ministry of Finance and Customs, concerning the tariff charged on those bringing vessels to the country. Now, the way it is, our people are not competitive, because if you're bringing vessels to work on the short term, you pay minimal amount as tax. Now, but those who are bringing vessels to work long term pay very high amount. We're saying, listen, we need to understand how this industry works. This industry is a special industry, it's fairly complex. And so we're engaging with Ministry of Finance, with Customs, and with the presidency to create a special tariff regime for those Nigerians bringing vessels into the country and for those bringing vessel parts.
If I might come in, I'm interested in that funding aspect. Then I want to find out, what is the awareness that has been created for those who really need this funding? How much do they know about this funding that you talked about?
Yeah, we're engaging the industry on a regular basis. When we had engagement with the NPC, the industry was with us. We carried the industry along. When we had engagement with the Ministry of Finance, we carried the industry. When we had engagement with the presidency, we also carried the industry along. So at every point in time, the entire thing about regulation is that it's about the industry. Regulation, you don't regulate yourself, you regulate the industry. The industry must understand where you're going to. They must go with you. Now, in terms of promotion, it's the same thing. You're not promoting yourself, you're promoting the industry. You're getting more Nigerians involved in the industry. And so the secret is that you must get them involved at every point in time.
Okay. Engagement has helped you achieve for the achievements you've made so far. So looking at in the industry again, you will agree with me, there are so many potentials in the industry yet untapped. So how do we explore these potentials in the maritime sector? Now,
very often when people talk about the maritime sector, we focus so much on shipping and ignore every other part. The maritime industry is not about shipping alone. There are ancillary services, insurance, maritime law, shipbuilding. Of course, crewing is a big area. You know that the Philippines is literally surviving in terms of the industry from crewing. They are literally crewing most vessels. They are supplying seafarers to the world. You know, most seafarers are like to come from the Philippines. China, most officers are like to come from China. Most seafarers are like to come from the Philippines. These are countries making huge capital, contributing to their GDP. And so, when we talk about the maritime industry, it's not just about shipping alone. What of the ancillary services? What of the other areas? Fisheries, aquaculture, and what of seabed mining, underwater mining? Now, what we have done is to create awareness about the multiple opportunities involved in the sector, in the maritime sector. And like I said to you, there are two important things or three important things if you want to grow that sector, or if you truly want people to give them access to capital. Build capacity of the people, build the supporting infrastructure. Then again, you must invest in the industry.
You've mentioned so much about the role capacity building will play in the industry's development, but I want to narrow it down. That how can maritime education or training ensure capacity development through the empowerment? This time, aside from building capacity, how can we empower the indigenous shippers?
Now, there are two dimensions to it. One is that you need to grow the number of seafarers, those who work on board the vessel itself. There are those who work on shore. And so there are two dimensions. Those who work on board the vessels, you need to train your seafarers, you need to train your engineers, you need to train your deck officers. And we're doing a lot in that area. We are working with Man on Run to improve facilities, improve the quality of training in Man on Run, with special interest in giving women opportunity our young people. Mind you, we are supporting the Nigerian Maritime University. We are building the first full-fledged maritime university in Nigeria. It's on in Okonkoko. We attended the matriculation not too long ago. So we're building high-end capacity in that area. Again, giving special attention to women.
But I want to ask one question. Do you think changing Oron to a university, do you think it will take away the key function of
it? Will. It will. Now, Oron is designed to produce middle-level manpower. We now have the Maritime University to produce high-level or high-end manpower.
So in your view, Oron should be left
to do its work. It has a gap that is addressing, and it's about the most important area in the industry.
So how do we achieve or ensure a seamless shipping activity in the territorial waters?
Provide security. Now, invest in assets. Give people opportunity to own assets. Support them own assets. Improve the operating environment, the regulatory operating environment, the operational environment. It's important. In your enforcement of international regulations, be business friendly without compromising standards. The industry is not local. The standards are the same globally, save for a few differences in your own region. And so in enforcement, help them to become compliant with international regulations, whether it's MAPOL, whether it's the SCW, just whatever, in every area of regulation. Help them to become compliant. Let your focus not just be to punish them. You punish as last resort when you have no other option. Now continue to improve the reputation of Nigeria. Today, many of those who operate here have confidence in the maritime sector in Nigeria. They know that you have a proactive maritime administration. A maritime administration is effective, efficient, that is up and doing, that is responsive. They know that. They know that the maritime administration in Nigeria is up and doing, and that with a touch of button you get a response for whatever is the challenge, and that they are going to follow you through whatever challenge you're facing and ensure that you're comfortable to operate in the sector.
This is where we must end this beautiful and brilliant chat. These are the words of the DG. He said engagement is one of the key things to his achievements. So we must ensure capacity building, funding, infrastructure.
Funding at a single digit interest rate. Access to capital.
Okay. Access to ancillary and regulatory.
We must grow ancillary services.
These are the words of the DG. Dakuku Peterside. He is the DG Nigerian Maritime Administration and Safety Agency. We must thank you most kindly for coming.
Thank you very much, madam.
Welcome to our interactive segment. These are the mails we received this week. Hello, madam. I am a fisherman and lives in Bayelsa State. Can the government give us assistance so that we can export our fishes and earn foreign currency? This is from Philip T. West from Bayelsa State. I must congratulate you on your program. My complaint is the gridlock in Apapa and its environs is killing us and our business. Please help us ask the government that is there no solution to the gridlock? Mrs. J. Akomalafe, Liverpool area in Apapa. We must say a big thank you to all of you who sent in mails this week. Your comments or contributions are appreciated. We ask that you keep them coming. To join this interactive session, send your questions, comments, complaints, or observations to maritimeupdate@yahoo.com with your name and location. We implore you to keep them simple and civil so we can read them. And that's where we draw the curtain on this week's edition of Maritime Update. I must thank you most kindly for being a part of this week's edition. Please remember to send your comments, complaints, and observations on our email or the number showing on your screen. This show promises to bring you yet another exciting package next week. For more details, you can also contact the Nigerian Shippers Council on our website or text the number on your screen. You can view this episode or any of our previous episodes on our YouTube channel, Maritime Update, when you visit please subscribe for free and also click the notification button. I am Norma Obiaswalo. Until I come your way again, same time next week, it's goodbye.